Piece of Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong. I want to tell them they don't represent 7 million Hong Kong residents. They don't represent us.
Meanwhile, China's National People's Congress has refuted a series of remarks from U.S. politicians regarding Hong Kong. This comes after U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tweeted that Beijing is using force against protesters. Similar remarks were also made by some other U.S. politicians. The NPC says that comments distort criminal acts by presenting them as a fight for freedom, while the American politicians also falsely accuse Hong Kong police of violently suppressing demonstrators. An NPC spokesperson for Foreign Affairs says the recent violent protests in Hong Kong are a violation of the national constitution and Hong Kong SAR's basic law, among others. He adds that the remarks from U.S. politicians are an interference in China's domestic affairs. You're watching Africa Live on CGTN. Time now for a short break, but when we return, let's take a look at the headlines. Coming up, UN convenes CITES summit to tackle threat of mass extinction. And we'll tell you why beads are an essential part of life for the Turkana people in Kenya.
How will your world change today? What happens here? What happens there? Or what you make happen for yourself? If it matters to you, it matters to us too. Your stories are the stories that need to be told. Africa Live. Find your voice. Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. Delegates from more than 180 countries are gathering for the meeting on the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species in Geneva, Switzerland. The CITES meeting, held every 3 years, will discuss a record 56 proposals submitted to the Conference of the Parties, known as COP18. Member representatives will take key decisions that might affect elephants, giraffes, and other big five in Africa whose numbers have declined due to poaching. Some African nations are pushing to reopen trade in ivory. However, others are seeking the highest possible protections for all of Africa's elephants. This is the last full meeting of CITES parties ahead of 2020, when governments will formulate a post-2020 global biodiversity framework and strategic plan.
What the people don't know is that we regulate trade in many finished products. Wildlife is not only the live animal or the live plant, it's the shampoo that contains aloe vera, it's the lipstick that contains candelilla wax, the bag that is in crocodile skin. We regulate all the finished products as well, unless they are exempted in the treaty.
It would be nice to resolve this issue about the African elephant in one way or another, that they can come to common ground between the countries who are having these opposite proposals. I think it would be very good for everyone to see that Africa can speak in one voice and share some common goals, some common objectives, and move away from this constant discussion about one area. For me, a success would be that, in fact, parties are very conscious that they have a responsibility to take good decisions to ensure that of the sustainability of the species that are being traded currently, endangered species that are being traded currently, and halt the fears of extinction of those species.
And in South Africa, the University of Johannesburg has granted 14 students scholarships to study in China. The students will also be exposed to the Chinese tourism and hospitality industry outside of their formal studies. CGTN's Yulisa Njamela has more.
China beckons for a number of South African students who have landed an opportunity to study in that country. They are to pursue studies in various fields. Hundreds of South African students have over the years benefited from scholarships to study in China. In 2018 alone, 32 South African students were awarded scholarships to study postgraduate degrees in China. They will be joining 100 other students who are already on the same program in China. This education program exchange is part of the high-level people-to-people exchange program established between China and South Africa.
The Chinese government scholarship fund funds the outstanding students, teachers, and scholars from all over the world to study and carry out their research in Chinese university. Since 2001, the Chinese government scholarship program has provided more than 400 South African students with full scholarship to study in China, and the number of scholarships has been on increase in recent years.
The South African government implored these students to play an ambassador role.
Our students who go to China will always be our premier link between our two countries. And we trust in the years to come, we will continue to see the fruits of this arrangement and to ensure a better understanding of one another and even greater economic, trade, research and educational partnerships.
The exchange students are ecstatic about the opportunity. Some of them have traveled to China before.
What is most fascinating about it is their language and their food, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As one of the developing countries, I think it's an opportunity for me, especially in the space that I'm in, the environmental management.
I think it definitely broadens your horizons. It opens your eye to a different type of lifestyle elsewhere in the world. But secondly, I think it's quite interesting that coming from South Africa, a developing country, you get to sort of compare and contrast with China, which is another developing country, but just in a different context.
It's hoped that the students, on their return, will bring back home skills that they acquired from China and contribute to the country's economic development and social cohesion. Yulisandra Mela for CGTN in Pretoria, South Africa.
Let's now head to Nigeria, where we meet Adewale Aladejana, who is the founder of Sapphire Group, which is an indigenous perfume maker. In less than 5 years, the brand has won a large following, which has seen Adewale being voted Entrepreneur of the Year, among several other accolades. Our correspondent Deji Badmus has more on the story.
Right from the door, a pleasant scent greets your nose. It's the factory where Nigeria's first indigenous perfumes are made. Sapphire Scents is run by Nigerian entrepreneur Adewale Aladejana. He's always had a nose for perfumes and transitioned from marketing them to formulating his own brand in 2015.
I had a client that said to me, he said, I'm going for a very important meeting at the State House, and I don't want any of the regular ones to sell. I want something really, really special. So I mixed up something for him, and he went to the State House and had a meeting. And while he was coming out, he met the First Lady, and she looked at him and said, "Young man, what fragrance is that you're wearing?" And he came to tell me, and that was all the encouragement I needed to start my own line of perfumes.
That was 4 years ago. Adewale now has a number of employees working here at his factory. They bottle the perfumes and carefully put them into attractive packages, ready to be shipped to customers all over Nigeria and beyond.
We produce the perfume and then we train you on how to sell. And it's been, we have people that's built houses, people that are paying school fees from there, buying cars. People's lives have changed 100% because of Sapphire Group.
As a growing brand, Sapphire Scents organizes seminars to recruit distributors. Marketers say the company is one of the best to work with, and that patronage of the product has been on the rise.
I got on board with this brand just last year, but I can already tell you that I've seen so much profits and so much turnover in my account that I'm like, wow, there has to be something else on this.
It's very flexible, both for people who are already working, and even if you're not working, it's an one-fit-all kind of business.
Sapphire Saints is just a line of Sapphire Group. Adewale's firm is also into the sale of wristwatches and other accessories. He says his goal is to make Sapphire the one-stop shop for all things luxury in Africa.
Our concept at Sapphire Group is what we call the affordable luxury strategy. It simply means something that is produced for Africa by Africans at a price that Africans can afford.
Through Sapphire Group, Adewale has been able to empower about 10,000 persons, training them in the sale of perfumes. He says his venture is not just about making money, but also tackling poverty through creating jobs, and is indeed created thousands of direct and indirect jobs. Deji Badmos, CGTN, Abuja, Nigeria.
Beaded ornaments are an important part of Turkana culture, with both men and women adorning themselves to venture out on normal days. But as Wilkester Nyawa discovered, the beads have special significance and often speak louder than words.
She wears them proudly. The seemingly endless, colorful rows of multicolored beads wrapped around a long, graceful neck. Her ancestors wore similar beads, and now it's her turn.
The tradition of Turkana beads has lasted through the years. They are ornaments which beautifully complement everyday wear. But in addition to that, they send special messages to those who speak the language of the beads.
Every garment and every strand of beads means something to the Turkana. Beads are worn to signify one's age, marital status, and station in society. These traditions have been passed down from the older generation to the youth on the cusp of adulthood.
The purpose of the Turkana woman wearing beads is to make her very beautiful and even ready for marriage. Because when you wear smart, there is significance in who you are.
It all starts with the garments themselves. Young girls wear aprons and long skin garments decorated with tiny beads, and to top the outfit, they add the showstoppers, the beads. Married women's attire is more restrained.
When she gets married, all the beads that she wears during her youthful state, they are being taken with the in-laws or the family of her husband. Now, the family of the husband now replaces with the gifts that they give her back. So the difference is when you are married, you don't wear a lot of beads. You just wear the size that you can wear.
But beads aren't just for women. Turkana men wear beaded belts over colorful cloths wrapped around their waists and shoulders. The tradition of beads among the Turkana dates back to over 9,000 years ago, when men brought back ostrich eggshells to the women to make the beads. Today they use glass and plastic beads. The different bead designs and colors on ornaments also distinguish the different clans and age sets, and the Turkana wear them proudly. As modernization spreads across this vast region, the long rows of beads preserve the link between the past and the present. Wilkester Nyawa, CGTN, Turkana, Kenya.
Well, the news continues on Africa Live. We've got your sports news coming up after the break. Don't go away. Don't touch that dial. Let's take a sneak peek at the headline. Kenya ready for athletics medal harvest at the 2019 African Games in Morocco.
Africa, where champions are made, records are broken, legends are born. We're there for every goal, for every knockout, for every step of the way. Match Point, only on CGTN.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. The 2019 African Games begin on Monday in Morocco, and Kenya will be sending a strong team to the Games. The country's athletics team has been primarily tasked to deliver medals at the Games despite the absence of notable elite athletes. CGTN's Brian Toussaint has more.
Kenya will be without big names at the 2019 African Games. With a list of over 60 athletes, majority are youths who will be taking part in the senior sports competition for the first time in Casablanca. The team is, however, confident and are ready to go strong.
For me, it won't be a problem because we have practiced and the seniors who are not there are our role models. So we will strive to be like them and represent them well, even do better than them, even if they are seniors.
I can't say it's a big issue because now we did our trials and the time is good, and we really appreciate for the chance we got, and that is a challenge to us, and we are going to make it real and to bring the 3 medals to our country, beloved country.
In the 11th edition of the Games, which were held in Brazzaville, Congo, Kenya was represented by 364 competitors taking part in 18 competitions. This year, the number of athletes has dropped to 290, with the number of activities increasing to 22. The young team may be lacking in experience, but they are prepared to make up for it with total dedication to duty.
Most of those we could be calling it young, they have an experience either during the youthful championship or during the under-18. When you talk of Edo Sakayo, he has been competing at both the junior level and the senior level up to the Commonwealth Championship. So much as they are young, and they are not lacking the experiences because they have competed for the country at international levels, during the under-18 and the under-17, and they have been able to win medal for Kenya.
I'm growing, then I have run many races, so now I have many tactics because I have graduated to seniors level, running with the seniors. Then so the difference is I just know how to run right now.
Kenya's new crop of enthusiastic young athletes could just be the key to returning the country to its glory days at the African Games. Brian Toussaint, CGTN.
Japan has officially inaugurated a new